Good afternoon, Shabbat Shalom and good afternoon. So, I sleep a little bit after a much needed, maybe 48 hours of art and walking and, unimaginable amount of people riding me and more than ever on my back, which of course makes you feel tremendously weak and ill. So I've done some thinking about the symbolic language and the symbolic aspect of the Titanic behavior, I should say. And I think that I have a little bit of improvement upon the conclusions that I've drawn in the last couple of days. Of course, most probably they will this conclusion will be further refined in the future. And I should say that it's pity that these are the most important aspects of the symbolic language by far. Because they are they are directly relevant to my well-being and to my ability to walk, not be completely sick, and this of course is the largest part of my abuse, as I detailed to some extent yesterday. But and it's a pity that I'm almost 40 and I still don't know the details, and most certainly after 4.5 years of this journey, the active journey, that I understand that I'm not a regular Homo sapiens, not an Homo sapiens at all. But you should understand that these are the aspects of my existence and of the Titan existence that were kept in the most secret way from me by the Israelis, because they, more than everything, was the most this information being spread all the time, because it was important for them that they will not understand it. So that's why after all this time I'm still learning these aspects that are so important. Well, maybe other aspects, I already think that I have a good grasp of how to summon asteroids, and how to make them multiply, or how to make them bigger, and all the fun stuff that creation of life forms, all the fun stuff that you see and experience right now. And of course this will only be magnified tremendously as time progresses. So I refined it's a pity that the whole mechanism of writing, which is so important to my life, is I still still learning it. But what can you do? This is life. So I will improve upon the other my earlier conjectures. So as you remember, I understood that the yellow news, my own tea, is I don't really know how the Israelis conceptualize it, and they are so distributed and so secretive, and they lose all of the time. They lose information that they already had. So from their perspective, it's like a drug, and from the perspective of other people. But and they mostly they differentiate between aliens or robots or whatever by how much drug they have in their body and how much they can sustain, how much you can ride them, which of course is directly, as they hypothesize, and this of course is true, that this is directly related to the amount of the drug in their body. This is actually correct. So so that's why they have the whole concept of that is also very common abroad, of starships and Formula 1 cars, or the bigger the vehicle, presumably you can ride it more. And I'm the Starship Yamamoto, something, But of course it's not only unbelievably abusive and sick, and just shows you what are really humans made of and why they should all be destroyed. But it also they didn't ever thought about that there is in the last generation they don't understand the difference between the types of the drug. Even though of course they knew it in the past, as I described in this channel in great detail, that until the 70s it was known that there is the male ones and the female ones and the relations, and that the male is used for the female. So, and it was used in an unbelievably abusive way, they used them as farm animals. This was an amazing thing that took place for 70 or 80 years until the Great Purge of the 1980s. It was a great sin. These people were even worse than the people today. I don't say that in the past it was better, but at least they had I mean, they maintain a little bit of knowledge about reality, and they kind of and they constructed an unbelievably Nazi, like a worse than any Nazi, like system of abuse, like to abuse these people as these creatures as animals. But it was kind of based on some facts that they knew they had that unbelievable. It's unbelievable, but today in this generation, what I call the post-Soviet era, the people, in Israel and also abroad, because if it's lost in Israel, certainly it was lost abroad, because, this is the place where it's all everything happening. So, they completely lost, I don't know how it's happened. I understand that many people died during the 1980s. But, I don't know, they don't, they have any written record, they didn't. It's amazing. I was thinking about that in the last couple of weeks, that, that the world that I live in, is I'm forced to live in this world of intelligence services and secrets. It's so much like the world before writing. This was actually life before people invented writing. That everything is based on rumors, and and secrets and different symbol systems that are incoherent and inconsistent. And for time there are pages of information. That, a whole corpus of information is just completely lost and then need to be rediscovered. So this is the world before writing. This is where I live. Everything is so. Even if they died, even if thousands have died in Israel and maybe hundreds of thousands abroad. They didn't write anything. It's all nothing is written. You don't, in the Mossad and the CIA, you don't use the concept of written language. You don't have ink and papers. To say nothing of computers. Or maybe computers are only used to create to manufacture fake pornographic videos. This is why computers were invented from your perspective. In order to you will be able to, even though it was done before computers, but in order to make it easier to you to fake porn movies on your victims. You have no notion of what alphabet is and all this. Sometimes maybe you've seen very thin pieces of material, mostly white, that with all sorts of shapes, mostly black shapes. Many little shapes. Many little shapes, mostly black shapes. You've never seen it, never encountered it. What is it? No writing. Okay, just speaking and noise and shouting and performing arts, of course. Everybody's performing all over the place. Performing all the time on the endless stage. Anyway, these men made this way. They lost so much information, and of course, many people even lost the basic information that we're dealing with another planet, which is called Venus. But I'm certain that not everybody lost this information. This is ridiculous. Yes, I believe that. What we're going through now is some of it is authentic. Yes, some people also in Israel, by the way, but certainly abroad. They really discovered this kind of a great, surprise that there is another inhabited planet in the solar system, which is in reach, Venus, and maybe you also accept the existence of the stargates if you didn't know about it before. But so some of it is authentic, but of course it's impossible that everybody all over the world forgot about it. This is ridiculous. Of course, many people in Israel knew about it. And also in the United States and in other places. But yes, it's some. The knowledge was forgotten by many people. Yes. But so much was forgotten that that now they treat the tea as kind of a magic material without ever thinking where it came from. This is insane. This is insane. Now, there are several things that I now. The yellow needles are like jokers. My robots. They can be replacement for the brown ones, which can be found in the Titan males, but there are no more males to be found. As I said many times, since the 70s, their population dwindled significantly to almost to nothing. But one thing that it should be, and this relates to the writing mechanism, is that it's important that it is customary in Israel and probably based on biological constraints that that people get the red mirrors, the drug, the tea, they mostly get it from like one source. I mean, in a very secret, like from one female, like all the time. Like they're a subscriber to their services. Now this actually, I mean, I would want to say that, I mean, it makes sense, but of course it's so abusive and sinful that, I mean, to say that it makes sense, it's like, I mean, maybe like bad choice of word, but I would say that, I mean, if you already, I mean, such a, a Nazi criminal and low, and the scum of the earth and such sinful and disgusting, I mean, under this context, yes, I mean, it's probably better to get it from one source. Like, I mean, because to get like a mixture of it, like sometimes they sell abroad, like, I mean, sometimes they sell like a mixture of the stuff abroad is, I mean, just to add another kind of like a layer of danger and risk, because so for many reasons, but I mean, it's just like, again, it's like I'm mixing blood, like donations, like without checking any of it, and just, I mean, doing whatever with it. This is extremely dangerous. So, I mean, yes, I mean, it makes sense to get it from one source. And maybe there are also kind of like biological, reasoning here. Now it should be said that when you ride somebody, and this was this one I discovered it like only very recently, because I never understood like the riding mechanism, even though it's terrorizing all my life. But it took me so long to understand it. But when you ride somebody, you can actually get the neurons from the bicycle. I mean, directly. This could be done. Maybe even like I don't know what's the limit of like the temporal, like, I mean, in space, like the space, I mean, the geographical, distance limit here. It's a question, because obviously what happens is that, I mean, the portals are moving through the portals. I mean, there is like a YouTube video with these samples that you see a portal moving through a portal. I mean, and there is a question like what happens, but this is exactly what happens. Like you have, I mean, the robots of like the bicycle in your body, and the bicycle have the robot of the bicycle. So so the robots, I mean, are going through the robots, and so that's how they can take the stuff. So you don't need to actually eat it after you've eaten it, like, I mean, once or twice or whatever. You don't actually need to eat it, and that's explained a lot. First of all, it explains, I mean, I already, I mean, since I like 2 years ago, when I discovered that, I mean, people like, the neighbors like take, I mean, they try to condition me violently to that I can't have like sex at all, and can't have intimate relationship, and I must masturbate like 2 papers, and neighbors are conditioning me to take it from the garbage, so they can take it from the garbage. I understood, I mean, quite very quickly that this is something to do with money. That, I mean, I mean, I had many kind of clues and hints like along the way that that makes this notion even stronger. This is money. They treat it like, I mean, like an asset that, I mean, presumably they owe. I mean, it's theirs because, I mean, because they let me live, like, and not kill me or whatever. I mean, from their perspective, I must give it to them. So, I mean, but they don't need it like in order to live or to be healthy. But I also understood that, I mean, the Israelis use this drug, I mean, for their purpose. Like, I mean, so after some time I understood that it's kind of like, I mean, indirect mechanism, that they give it to the females, and the females, then they get the drug from the females, the T. But the thing is that the Israelis can also ride me and get the stuff directly from me. So that's why for their purpose, I mean, the usage of this material as a drug, which gives them life and let them, like, cure from their diseases, is only, you hear the noise outside, they will trigger all sort of like magic things that will cause the robot to stop speaking, because the robot have heard a sound which is hypnotically conditioned against this sound. These are the people, I mean, this is the Israeli intelligence. It's a group of children, like retarded children. Unbelievable. So I understood that they what they do with this stuff is they sell it abroad or to whatever, they sell it to other people. But I mean they themselves, like the Israeli intelligence, they don't treat it as something that is life-giving to them, because this is taken from me directly. They only give it to people that cannot ride me. Probably because they live abroad or they are not privy to the circumstances. And the more I think about it, the more I think that my sisters, the ones that they call my sisters, like the Titan females that I mean are you know, that are used as primary sources for the tea. The more I think about it, I'm no longer sure that they actually live abroad. Like maybe they live in Israel just like me, and you know, no one. I mean, and they were conditioned. I mean, to you know, their memory was wiped, or I mean, they were conditioned. Like I mean, to you know, to in most of it in a severe way, like I am. And I don't know. I mean, and they are just. I mean, and no one tells them nothing, and people abuse them. I don't know, and of course, I mean, nobody lets them see me, and certainly, I mean, so they cannot like do the riding, because in order to ride, so we'll get to it in a minute. So I mean, so anyway, of course, I mean, like the actual females that get, I mean, that either buy this stuff abroad or get it from the Israelis directly. Maybe they, as I said, so maybe these sisters or some of them live in Israel, and just, I mean, you know, like me, I mean, de facto they are prisoners of the Israeli system, and the Israelis will do anything that they want to them. Maybe. In any case, I mean, it's clear that, I mean, the clients of this material that, I mean, that get it, like, you know, the actual, like, semen, like, I mean, for my body, they buy it from the Israelis. They cannot ride me, because if they could, they can take it directly from me. And I spoke about it yesterday. And it's not their interest that it should be done this way. It's not the interest to have, like, I mean, it's almost like obvious that, I mean, this is against their interest. Like, I mean, why should they pay money to Nazi scumbags in Israel to get stuff that they need to trust them, and maybe they'll say they give them other things, which is exactly what they did in the last 2 years. And I mean, most certainly it caused, like, I mean, as severe health effect. I don't know how severe. Maybe it killed them. Maybe because you don't know what's inside of it. Maybe, I mean, most probably they gave them the red Neros. Like, I mean, the red because, I mean, it's the easiest kind of, like, I mean, you know, substitution. Like, I mean, but then there is the question of, like, what? I mean, if you give them cocaine, I mean, they probably understood that this is not what they expect. Like, I mean, there is a very big difference between cocaine and, you know, and robots from outer space. But I mean, there is presumably little difference between this kind of robots and that kind of robots. But I mean, there is actually a huge difference, because these are intelligent creatures, the robots. So the question of what can they do and what will they do? It's actually much more dangerous than give cocaine instead of, like, I mean, the yellow ones. So I'm certain that it caused them health issues, but I don't know to what extent. Or did they recover? What's the situation right now? This will also happen in Israel. I mean, it's happened both abroad and in Israel. And again, the Israelis prefer to die a million times than to give me 1 shekel for these yellow robots. I mean, it's the main, like, it's primary objective of the state is that I will give nothing in return for that. And if I refuse to give it for free, they torture me, they imprison me like they do now. You know, I'm house arrest for so long for nothing. They take my children, but I must get nothing, 0 shekels for it. This is imperative. And they either all die, and all their clients all over the world will die, even 1 million times, then I will get 1 shekel for it. Why? Because these are humans. This is humanity, and this is why humans are dead. I call it for future generations. You should understand why these people. You ask yourself why humanity ceased to exist. Why was this world wiped completely from all the people? This is the reason. This is how they acted. I don't know who listened to these videos in the future, but I'm sure some will listen. Sentient creatures, not humans, and you will ask yourself, why were humans annihilated from the earth? This is why. They prefer to die 1 million times, all of them, that I will get 1 shekel for my flesh and blood. This was reality. This was reality in the past, and this is why the planet was wiped from all sentient life forms. This is why. This is the reason. It might sound ludicrous to you, like you ask yourself, it doesn't make sense that, I mean, they would prefer to die than, I mean, to give this poor creature, like, money for, like, so he'll be able to live and see his daughters, I mean, and raise his daughters. I mean, he only asks for, like, basically, you know, not to be treated as a slave and a scum, and your life depended on it. So you prefer to die, all of you, than, I mean, just give him, I mean, minimal life condition. So yes, this is ludicrous, but this was situation in the past, or maybe distant past. I don't know when you listen, but this was reality. And this is why the planet was wiped from all its inhabitants. This is why. Probably it sounds ridiculous to you, because if you are sentient race and you need to be sentient in order to listen to these videos, almost certainly this will sound ridiculous, but this was reality. Ridiculous or not, this is true. This was reality in the past, and this is why the planet was wiped from all the people inside of it. This is why. This was the situation in Earth for a long time, and this is why they're all dead. All of them. All the civilization, you ask yourself, like, what happened? I mean, there were so many people. I mean, were they all so bad? I mean, we don't understand. So this is why. This is the reason. Yes, that's how they acted. It might sound ridiculous, it might sound unbelievable, but this was reality. This was reality, and this is the reason why they are all dead. Now let's continue. So of course, this is not like in their interest. So why do they do it? Because either they don't know, they are given to it, like, forcefully, without even understanding what's going on, if they are prisoners in Israel like me. Or maybe, and certainly some just buy it for money from abroad, and they like. So here there are like two options. One option, which is the more common option, which is that they are cooperating with the Nazis. That they know the situation, and they are happy of getting from the Nazis, because they understand that if they would have received it directly from me, I would have had power to say no, I don't want to give it to you, or please pay me, or whatever. And they don't want to pay, they don't want me to have options. So they rather pay the Nazis money and get it and the Nazis are torturing me, as they know very well. But the torture is done not in Europe or the United States or any civilized country. It's done in out of space, like Israel, like a place without no laws. So it's not their fault. It's not their fault. Torture is done all over the world. They cannot be the police of the world, as the Americans say. What do you want me to be the police of the world? Yes, cool things are happening, but it's not our fault. We just buy the stuff. But we can't be responsible for how the stuff is actually produced. Again, this is why the world is dead. This is why there are no more humans in Earth. Because of that behavior. Because of these people, the strongest and presumably the most progressive people of this world, in Europe, in the United States, the places that were the most liberal and with the most advanced values. These people, the champion the most the highly regarded values of respect to all humans, whatever kind of people they are, and freedom and of course the right to dignity and things like that. These people paid good money for other nations to torture in unimaginable way for many years other creatures that had no rights at all and suffered unbelievable way, and they knew that this happened, but they didn't care at all, because they wanted to get the thing from them, their flesh and blood, while they champion progressive values at their own countries. This is why the earth is empty of humans, of Homo sapienses. This is why. You ask yourself why it happened? Why was the earth wiped out of its inhabitants? This is why. This is why. That's how they acted. The most progressive of them, the most liberal nations, the ones that had presumably the most free societies, that always champion the best kind of values of freedom and equality, for decades they paid tremendous amount of money to a regime that used humans, that used sentient creatures as farm animals and tortured them without end, took their flesh and blood from them, infected them with unimaginable diseases. And they knew it very well, and they supported it, and they paid them good money, because they wanted all this torture, unbelievably cruel torture, to be done outside their territory, because in their territory it's very important to have progressive values. This is why. You ask yourself, why was the planet wiped of all its inhabitants? You say, we don't understand. What can they be? Were they that evil? Does it make sense that they would? So this is why. This is the answer to your questions. You ask these questions, this is why. Yes, this is why they are all wiped. This is why there are no more humans in this universe. After many thousands of years that they existed. This is why. Because that's how they acted for a long time. This is why. This is why. That's how they acted for a long time. The most progressive of them. The most liberal, the most progressive of them, that's how they acted for many, many years. This is why they are all dead. All of them, to the last one. This is why. And this is why it was imperative to wipe everybody, including the children. So this will not repeat. So this will not repeat. It was imperative to end this life form, to end it, to put an end to this thing. It was imperative. This is why. So this is one kind of clients abroad, but maybe there are clients abroad that just, I mean, don't know nothing. I mean, and they must get it for some reason. So maybe, I mean, they are less of kind of guilty, but they are still immensely sinful, because you cannot buy such a thing without asking wherever it comes from. Wherever it comes from. But I mean, be it as it may, I mean, how much guilt they have, like, is it tremendously like the Israelis, or just a little less? I mean, it's true for all of them that, I mean, by almost by the definition, it's against their, like, I mean, you know, their direct interest that they have to have the Israelis as mediators. Like in any other case, I mean, if you don't need the mediators, why should you pay more money? I mean, you know, for another kind of, you know, chain in this wheel. So I mean, most certainly, the ones that I call my sisters are the primary, like, you know, creators of the steel. Even though every female can create a drug, even Homo sapiens, not only Titans, every female can create it, because all of these creatures that that are all sentient creatures that that are mentioned in these videos, they all share origin, and they all add this stuff like produce these robots in the past, all of them. That's why, I mean, these robots are so, like, they seem so native to the bodies of all the creatures involved. That, I mean, they can eat it and immediately, like, feel, you know, like, I mean, presumably good results, even though they shouldn't do it at all, because after some time it creates horrible results. And of course, it's manufactured like I mean, by treating like sentient creatures as farm animals, and is much more well. But I mean, the fact is, I mean, all these creatures, I mean, can eat the drug, and I mean, in kind of like a magical way. I mean, what kind of magic drug is this? I mean, it affects like every sentient creatures, even like aliens and robots, and because all these people that you call alien robots or cars or starships, they are all sentient creatures that have the same origin. And all of them had these robots in their body in like natively in the past, or they still do. That's why it looks like it was designed for all of them, because it was part of their body, all of them. So why do the Israelis, I mean, how do the Israelis maintain that these clients, whether they're privy to all the information or not, will never be able to ride me? So after some time I understood, in order to facilitate this riding thing, I mean, it's something to do with repetition. Like, I mean, the person that wants to like ride me needs to do something like that, and then I need to repeat it. And then it kind of like, I mean, it started. But all they need to have eye contact with them. And if I watch like my own image, like in a mirror or iPhone, it kind of, I mean, it's even like negates the need to repeat, like, I mean, the action. But in any case, they need to watch me. That's why, I mean, I need to walk outside in order for it to start. Now, there's a question of when does it end? Because after some time, they want to stop the riding. And there are several reasons for that. First of all, as I said many times, the bicycle can do, I mean, tremendous harm to the rider, even to kill them. Of course, I mean, I would never have thought to do something like that, because, I mean, it's much better to infect them with horrible diseases, and that's what's happening right now, and will continue to happen until there will be, I mean, walking bag of worms, literally. They are already like that, but I mean, soon you will see the worms, like, I mean, literally hatch from their faces and bodies. No, this is not a movie. This will be the reality in Israel very soon. Because once I understand it, the only thing that prevents me from doing it is that I didn't know how. But as you understand, I'm learning all the time. That's one of the failures of the Israelis. That they didn't understand that. I mean, they always try to reset me, or to force me to commit suicide, or but it never works. And I mean, and they cannot kill me, because if they kill me, they will have no source. The only source of this, I mean, there will be no more tea in the world, and they know it. So I mean, they said, okay, we cannot kill them, but we can try to, I mean, reset him or make him like a vegetable by, I mean, or commit suicide and then, I mean, be, you know, in prison forever, like in mental institution, or all of other tricks that are supposedly, I mean, should make me not dead, but I mean, completely under the control. But it never works, and they see that, I mean, decades. I mean, we're advancing. This is going on for decades. I'm almost 40. In January, I'll be 40 years old, and it never happens. I do not commit suicide. I never even like show any kind of will to do so, or even remote wish to do so. And I mean, the only thing that, I mean, advances is my understanding of the symbolic language, and they see it very well, and they don't care. But I mean, the logical consequences is that at some point I will have enough knowledge to hurt all of these writers. I mean, I already did, and I already do in the last year, and this was documented in the channel. But I mean, it only makes sense that the only thing that will change with time is that I will have more language of the symbolic language. I mean, it makes sense because you do. I mean, how many pedophile scumbags you can send to me to do the magic tricks that will supposedly make me reset and, you know, lose my and become your mattress and lose my free will. I mean, I understand that this is I mean, your objective or your wish, but I mean, you need to separate between what you want and what happens in the world. I mean, I've seen maybe a million pedophile freaks doing and I do not show any signs that I'm going to reset any soon. It's not even developing in that direction. The only direction is more understanding of the symbolic language. So I mean, what's the agenda here? To keep hoping that, I mean, the 1,000,001 pedophile that will do will cause me this kind of, like, I mean, wonderful reset? Okay, that's the agenda. This is humans again. These were humans. You, my audience. You think, I mean, that I mean, you look like in the wounds of humanity, and you think, I mean, they were so advanced. So you must understand, only a little, I mean, a fraction, like a tiny bit of them were actually smart and educated. And these were the people that, I mean, the world was built because of them. Like the great majority of the billions of people, of humans that, I mean, were basically the same as they were million years before. They were barbarous animals and unbelievably stupid, disgusting. That's what they did. You do not believe me. You think, I mean, but we see buildings and we see, like, I mean, ruins of, like, I mean, and things that look like, you know, airplanes and even in space, like, I mean, missiles and things like that. I mean, so I tell you, all of what you see is the fruit of a tiny fraction of the people that were called humans that inhabited this place. The great majority were zombies, were unbelievably disgusting and stupid creatures. Unbelievably. They were 99% of what they did is to use their voices, like their vocal cord. That's what they did. You do not believe me, but I tell you, this is the truth. You hear me now, after I don't know how many years after the humanity ceased to exist, and you, just comprehend reality. Understand that was reality. All the wounds that you see are the fruits of a tiny fraction of humans throughout history. The great majority of them, until the last moment, were barbarous like wild animals 1,000,000 years ago. What they did to get what they wanted is just like that. It's not a metaphor and it's not exaggeration. That's what they did. That's what they did in order to get what they want. That's what they did. Almost all of them. And certainly everybody that was in their the intelligence service and the security sector. That's what they did. That was their main and almost only tool to advance their causes. That's what they did until the last moment. Until they were all dead, that's what they did. Like 1,000,000 years before. They did not advance in one step in 1,000,000 years of evolution and cultural advancement. They did not advance at all. Every wound that you see is the fruit of a tiny fraction of humanity that were significantly better than the others. But because of that minority, it wasn't an excuse to keep this species alive, because, of course, they pose too much danger for other species. So everything, don't be mistaken. You see, airports, airfields, space, launching pods or whatever, and you think to yourself, they're more I mean, they were pretty advanced civilization. I mean, why were they all dead? Why? So, I mean, this is an illusion. They were not advanced at all. They were barbarians. That's what they were. Almost all of them, until the last moment. Until the last moment. And that's why they were wiped by another civilization. This is why. This is why. Because after 1 million years of evolution, they kept like this. After 1 million years of evolution, the great majority of them were just like that. Not in a metaphorical way. Just like that. That's what they did in order to advance their causes. So they still think that, I mean, I will reset, I mean, magically so, but I do not show any, no matter how much, I mean, it happens, I mean, they repeat these kind of rituals, I do not show any wish to reset. What's happening is that I get more understanding of the symbolic language, and of course that each step, I mean, allows me to do tremendous harm to them. And as I said, of course I will never think about like killing any like sentient creature. This is completely, I mean, out of the question. I think that this is completely stupid and shouldn't be done. But I mean, yes, I mean, making them living, walking, I mean, whoever that will be able to walk, which is not many, I mean, bags of worms, like literally, it's already the case, by the way, as I speak right now, it's already started, but I mean, and they think like, I mean, that they can get rid of it by fasting or stuff, but I mean, no, I mean, these worms will get much bigger and cooler, I mean, until it will kind of like creep out of their bodies, like, I mean, and they will not be able to even move. This will be the reality in the next couple of days. Not like in so I mean, so let's get back to the riding mechanism. So why would they even want to stop the riding? So the answer is that, I mean, at some point there are two answers for that. First, because I mean, I can hear them even unknowingly so. Like, I mean, because the symbolic language, it must be said that symbolic language works even if I do not understand what I'm doing. Okay? And there are all sorts of reasons for that. It might sound counterintuitive, but there are philosophical reasons why it's like that, but I'll speak about it in a different video. And as I said many times, the symbols, I spoke about it yesterday, the symbols, even like very important ones, can actually be, like, I mean, what I need to do is to watch the symbols. Or if I, like, it's a construction that contains a mixture of neurons, the neurons should be able to watch. I mean, even though it's not optical, they don't use like optical sensors like eyes, but I mean, they need to be able to have like clear, I mean, to have like a light should be able to pass between this, I mean, to pass, I mean, from the sun or another light source to the symbols and to be reflected into the neurons. Or in other ways, they should be able to watch it, like, I mean, you know, in an anthropomorphized way, in order for it to be in effect. But if I watch the symbols, or if the neurons watch the symbols, they are in effect, even if it's natural phenomenon. And again, I would say the most important object of the like semantic unit of the symbolic language is the solar system. And the solar system is, it's got several symbols, because many times the same semantic unit have several symbols, just like in any language, I mean, for important stuff. And the most important symbol for the solar system is the solar system, like the actual solar system, the sky at night, or not only at night, but I mean, usually we can see much more during the night. This is the most important symbol, which is the thing in itself. So I mean, natural phenomenon can also be symbols. And I give you like example like yesterday, like, I mean, for this thing, like you see the blue thing, I mean, something like that, and even like with red background, or like red-brown background, you can see like, I mean, it's very common, like many places all around the world, and certainly in Israel with its long like beach, you know, strip, and like, I mean, so in sunset or sunrise you see things like that. I mean in sunset, not sunrise. Sunrise is the other side. In sunset you see the kind of thing like that. And like near the beach, which is very common, it's not special at all. I mean for people, certainly if they live like in Tel Aviv, like I was born in Tel Aviv, and like, I mean, so, you know, so it was, I mean, it was not, you know, just a regular thing, like to see the sunset like in the beach. It wasn't something special, like it was something very common. And certainly if a person like to hike and to walk and, you know, and to camp like me, and I always like that. So I mean, I must have seen like, no, many times, like I've watched, like the since very early age, like I watch like the sun or the moon or in all sorts of like and especially near the beach, and so again, there's nothing special with it. It's like day to day. So I mean, and this can also symbolize all sorts of stuff that would be in effect. So regarding the writing mechanism, what happens is that I mean so as I begin to say, I mean I'm only getting better in understanding it, but they don't care. I mean because they are Israelis, they think that if they will repeat doing the robot will reset and they will get everything, and I mean he will be their mattress and they will do whatever they want to him. This is humans. These are humans. This is humanity. What can I say? This is humanity. You see the ruins of I don't know what the monument, huge monument stadiums. I don't know what monuments of magnetic railroads that you can identify. You see the ruins and you think that these creatures were I don't know very advanced, and they were not advanced at all. They were unbelievably backward. Every ruins that you see are the product of tiny amount of them that were actually smart and productive. The great majority were just like that. Just like that. Not in a metaphorical way or exaggeration. That's what they were, and this is why they were wiped. This is why better creatures than them decided to wipe them completely. And that's why you don't see any of them now. This is why. So, for the writing mechanism so sometimes they want to stop it, either because they think that I might like hurt them, like I mean, if I do something like unknowingly. So, of course, they can control my behavior. I mean, through terror. I mean, they call it psychological condition, but I call it just violence. But this got limitation. But there is something that is even like more. There is something more than that. So first of all, we should say something. Is there a limit to how many people can ride a person? So they don't really know. It's not that I'm the only one they ride. They ride other people as well, and they ride each other sometimes. So, but the thing is that that like if they ride like a female, it's always the same one because usually because they want to get, because when they ride it, it's also a way to get the robots from her directly. Like if they don't get access to the P, like to a P, which is also, because the same thing that I told now regarding myself, that that you get the robots, either by getting the bodily fluids or by riding. This is true also for females. And the same kind of limitation, but I don't even understand what's the limitation. With regard to the female, this is even more complicated because there are many females. I'm only one, so I don't know where they live. I don't know what's their affiliation. Some are, part of the Israeli intelligence, some are not. So this is, regarding how do they get it from the females, this is more complicated, and I'm not even like close to have all the information or even just a little bit of it. Because it's much more complicated because there are many. I'm only one. There are many, and there could be all sorts of arrangements. But what I know for certain is that it's also true that they can take do it like that there's like two ways to do it with females away, either from the bodily fluids or directly. When they ride, after they've received, initially they need to get their bodily fluids in order to have the robots to open the portal in their body. But once there is a portal in their body to this female, they can take the robots by moving portals through a portal. But I cannot speak about it because I don't know almost nothing about how it actually works with the females. Like I just know very little about how it works with me, and it's not so. The idea is that what they according, and it is too sometimes to understand it according you should understand that most people when they see me in the street, they don't know who I am. They think that I'm a female that looks like a wizard, and I've spoken about it quite a bit in the past in the Robot Saga. And just I really recommend all of you that didn't listen to the Robot Saga. It was recorded not long ago, maybe a month or 2 months ago, and it's a very important saga that explain a lot. But I don't want to repeat like everything. And if you don't have access to the Robot Saga, tell me what can I do to make you to have access to it, because this is incredibly important. But as I described in the Robot Saga, when people see me in the street, they mostly think that I'm female that look like that, because it was very common in the past. And I've explained why, how is it like that, and why, and it's very peculiar. But I mean, all of that was described like already, so let's not repeat ourselves. So according to what people think on the street, there is a limit to like how many people can ride. Like I mean, and it's like, I mean, presumably what happened is like, I mean, maybe like 10 or 20 can ride like a person. Like, the 21 is actually, I mean, kicking the first one out. Like in FIFO, first in, first out, like I mean, mechanism. That's why after they ride me, they mostly, I mean, do everything they can to force me to go home, because they, I mean, these people, I mean, they are lizards. I mean, they don't think like, you know, they think they want to. I mean, there is no kind of a cooperation between lizards. I mean, all of them are violent and abusive. But I mean, after, I mean, they started like to ride. I mean, they're kind of like, I mean, their interest is that I will be home, so people will not be able to watch me with them. I mean, to have eye contact with me. So I mean, so they will not kick them out. But I actually don't know what's the limit. I'm certain that my limit is probably unbelievably larger than what they are used to. Like, I don't know, if like, I mean, if like a regular female for Venus, I mean, it's like the limit is 20, for me maybe it's 20,000 or something like that. This is of course related to the number of neurons in the body. But they don't know that, so I mean, that's why after they start, they always kind of like use violence against me to try to torture me to go home, or, you know. This is unbelievably abusive. This is also the, part of the reason why I'm under arrest. I mean, which is so counterproductive. I mean counterintuitive. You could say, I mean, if you want him to be out, so people will actually be able to watch him, why do you put him under arrest for like a year for a crime he didn't do at all? Why do you do it? I mean, so part of the answer, I mean, many unbelievably irrational and crazy things that Israelis are doing. I mean, you can only understand it if you understand that these are many different like factions, or even just individuals inside the intelligence communities that fight each other, and there is no way to, I mean, to know, I mean, how they think, because I mean, it's internal wars. And so I mean, if you see things that are completely ridiculous that happens to me during my life, and they were done, I mean, obviously by the intelligence services, and you don't understand, like, why did they do it? How does it make, I mean, even if you take into account, like, you know, that they're Nazis and immoral animals, I mean, just, I mean, you know, logical, what, I mean, even take morality outside of the question. I mean, what's the logical purpose of what they did? Like, why did they put them in arrest if they want them to be outside? Because once I'm in like here, people cannot have eye contact with me, and they cannot hide me, and it's imperative for them to do it. So, I mean, the answer to that is that they are crazy, but also that, I mean, there are worrying factions within the intelligence community that, I mean, many of the calamities that happened to me during my life are the result of them fighting each other and torturing me in order to sabotage each other. Because you understand that I mean, the people, that the cell that is like, I live, like, it's not really all for homeless people, it is an intelligence cell. All of these people are Shabbatniks. So they can have contact with me. Now they try to do it less than before because of the symbols that, I mean, are wreaking havoc on them. But I mean, they didn't know it before. So from their perspective, it's better to put me under arrest if they are in arrest with me, because I mean, that's where that they get all the stuff. This is kind of like one of the kind of like, I mean, way to understand these people. Like, I mean, to understand they were all lizards. They were lizards that fought each other and wreak havoc like on everybody else, like on the process. That's why they are all dead. All of them. It's not all the Israelis. These were your Homo sapienses. This is how Homo sapienses acted. The ruins that you see of airports and, I don't know, stadiums and opera houses in Sydney, don't be mistaken, these are the fruit of a tiny fraction of humans. Mostly they were lizards in human forms, and that's why they were all wiped out. This is why they were all dead, all of them, because this could not continue. And that's why it was decided that they must all die, all of them. That's why the world is empty of them right now. Don't let this wound fool you. These wounds fool you. They were lizards. Not intelligent and not moral species at all. All of them were lizards. This is why. This is why. So, there is another reason why they would want to stop the riding. Because what happens during the riding is two things. First, they take the neos for me, the robots for me, and I'll explain in a minute how. Or I just say it. Probably what happens is that when I masturbate, they can take it from me. That's why they force me to masturbate, and it's something that I understood years ago. That I'm conditioned to do it. I mean, in a violent way, like not like they cause like sexual arousal or something like that. I mean, sometimes they do, but I mean, mostly it's like, by electricity and sound text and by unbelievably like cool conditioning. That and so what I understand now, I always thought that what they want is to actually make me like put like the toilet paper with it like, and they don't want me to do it like in the shower. So they torture me if I do it like, so they want me to do it like in toilet paper, so put it outside and the neighbors will take it, which is true. All of it is true. But there is another reason why they force me to do it, which is probably because when I do it, the people that are already riding me can take it from me, like even remotely. So that's why how they replenish the tea in their body. And what they also do is they infect me with their diseases. That's why I have all these elements that I listed yesterday, and it's all only like a partial list. Like all my life, there are other things like skin things, all sorts of things that are caused by these people that are riding me. So it's a way for them to transfer, to transfer diseases and their own feels and to get like the robots for me. But at some point there is like an equilibrium, presumably, or at least that's what's happening like with the females. Like I'm not sure that it actually happens with me, because again, what I tell you is almost all of what I tell you is an analysis of things that I like of behavior of Israelis. I mean, that's how I can get, that's my main source of information. It was always like that for more than 4 years. Like to see how people behave and to construct reality from it. And because they're so irrational and stupid and they did not discover writing yet and everything is like symbolic, it's so difficult because much of what they do doesn't make sense. And when you try to build like the puzzle from observation of like how your other people are behaving, if they are irrational, it makes it much more difficult to create the puzzle, because the rationality is what is the presupposes like the ability to actually build like the puzzle from their behaviors. But yes, that's why it's another reason why it took me so long to understand like basic things that are running my life, because people are so irrational. But nevertheless, it's still almost my only way to get information. Like to watch how people behave. So and again, one of them, the biases here is that many of them behave like they're used to with what I call wizards, which means female from Venus that like change their sex to male and look like me. But I'm a completely different creature. So some of the things that I tell you, might be true if I were that guy that they think I am, but not exactly true for me. But maybe are somehow true, and you should understand it. So what they think will happen, I don't know if it actually happens, but with me. But what probably happens with the wizard, the female Venusians, is that after some time there is like an equilibrium. That their body does not contain like good neos, because all of it were drank by the riders, and they have so many diseases. So it's not worth like to keep riding them, because they cannot get like more of the good stuff, and they're only kind of like now they are kind of in the danger of reverse osmosis, like of getting all like the diseases back to them, or the diseases that they were implanted in there by other riders, and therefore they don't want the diseases of other riders. Now I don't know if it's actually happened with me, because again, the amount of neurons in my body is absolutely, unimaginably larger than that you can find in Venusians, and also I create new ones all the time. They don't create new ones. So what happened to them? They just die. But what do they care, the Israelis? But this is another issue, like the wizard and the way that they're treated in Israel. I've spoken about it in the robot saga, like the issue of the wizard, and that they are treated in the most cruel way, and that most people in the streets think that I'm like that kind of a wizard. like a Venusian that changed their sex to male, to look like me. There's a question of who is me, because I mean, they don't understand that the model is, I mean, they don't, and it's actually not true, it's, but I spoke about it, just to watch the videos, I mean, to understand what's, I mean, like, who is based on who and what's actually happening on here, I mean, and what was the word, because, and there were several theories on the matters during the 20th and 21st century, so this is a very interesting and complicated subject, but it's topic of actually more than one video in the Robot Saga, so just listen to it. I mean, like, so, like, presumably, what is this? I mean, like, what is this face? Is this kind of a face of, I mean, and maybe there is no answer. I mean, like, I mean, and is it really a thing? I mean, is it like a social construct? There are many historical constructs. I mean, there are many kind of, like, I mean, because I was born in Earth, I would just say, and in 1984. And I look like that because I was born like that. This is my, I would say, my design or my genetics in your. So the question is like, is this face like? I mean, it's, I mean, certainly it's similar to some other thing. So the question is, what is the other thing that presumably like is the model for this face? So all of it was described in the Robot Saga. So just listen to it. Anyway, they don't want I mean, to hide like the person after the presumably the equilibrium is about to erupt. They only want to get to replenish like the good mirrors and then get out of this this you know, bag of like worms and bag of diseases that other people are, other riders are also placing disease in it. That's why they want to stop the riding, and I don't know how they do it. And what I now think is that it's not a masturbation itself that stops it, but it's eye contact. That they need to do something like the first. That's how they started it, with eye contact. So they also need to end it with eye contact. And that the masturbation is important for them because it's a way for them to get the neurons. That's what I think now. So presumably, if like I mean, I do like a walk like I did yesterday, that I mean. It was after another like walk because I mean initially like I wanted to give them like, you know, kind of like, you know, because some of them are actually cautious, even though mostly they are unbelievably irresponsible. But for the cautious people, I wanted to show them that it will be fine, and I mean, you know, and nothing will happen to them, and it's okay. Like I mean, to ride this kind of like a Formula One space car that is back on the streets. So I mean, so many people like started this riding yesterday. I don't know many, maybe thousands. I don't know, but so many people. So what I see now is that they cannot stop it without maintaining eye contact with me. And if it's true, it means that until I get out of this apartment, they are with me. Or maybe, I mean, they can force me, you know, to. That's why it's so common that I see beeps like, you know, honking of cars. The people that just want me to look outside because they want to maintain eye contact with me, you know, either to start the riding or to stop the riding. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but if I'm true, it's true, it means that I mean, so many people are now. Now, how do I know that all these people yesterday were starting the riding and not stopping it? For two reasons. First of all, I mean, as time progressed, I mean, while I was walking, I felt worse and worse. Like, I mean, I felt pretty good when I started, and I was on wreckage when I returned to the apartment. Like, a complete wreckage. So, of course, I mean, it only got worse. And also, should be said that the time before that, I mean, the 2 weeks before that, when I was kind of always in the apartment, I mean, I felt better with time. And this was not only subjective, but it was also seen in the microscopic evidence that, I mean, my body contained less life forms and more neurons. So there is like objective evidence that, I mean, that the time before this, the last, like, you know, like I mean, the long walk yesterday was good for me, and after that I mean, and I was a wreckage like after that. So I'm certain that they started the ride yesterday, and also there was something about the enthusiasm in which they started. I mean, it's also, I mean, my assumption is that they are much more enthusiastic when they start the ride than when they stop it, even though both are required from their perspective. So if I'm correct, it's not a masturbation in itself that, I mean, that it stops it, but I mean they do. I was correct in that while they ride me, they torture me and tremendously try to condition me to do the masturbation. But what I think now, as opposed to what I've told you before, is that it is not what stops the riding, but it's actually a mechanism to give them the neurons. That's why it's important to them. And probably in order to stop, they need to actually maintain eye contact with me. So I mean, they can try to honk the castle, look at them like, but it will not happen. And of course, there are the people in this apartment, but I mean, there are not many. And I don't get outside. So presumably until I get outside again, they are with me, which is great because we will have a lot of fun together. So what kind of fun I'm planning for my for this day, which will probably be several weeks until I must get out to buy things in the grocery store. But I'm kind of like well equipped now, so like I have toilet paper and soap and basic things to eat. So even if I don't get food like from charity, which we get almost every day, I mean I can still like prepare my own food with kind of pasta and rice, things like that. So there is no need for me to get outside at least for the next 2 weeks. So for the next 2 weeks they will be with me, and we will have a lot of fun. So my intention is now, after I'll eat like a late lunch, is of course to continue with the art, and my intention is to work in a more methodical way. Like I mean, to produce complete 4 sets of of what I call the Cherubian kind of a set. Which means like starting condition and end conditions of both like the negative and the positive effect. I mean, again, the negative and positive does not. It relates to whether I'm in there or not in there. That's the meaning of negative and positive. Like positive is it's like light over dark, which means that it's in fact while I'm not there, and negative is like it's dark over white, which means that it's in fact while I'm in there. Even like the word negative and positive, doesn't have any meaning here. It's just it's arbitrary. You can define positive, negative with the other one. Doesn't matter. You need to use some words. It's symmetrical. But to use like 4 sets, not necessarily 4 canvases, because you can use the same canvas with separators. You don't need to really use different canvases. But I want to be more frugal, to use smaller canvases, and so I've done yesterday, in the silver one, and to see the gray one. So because I don't have much canvases left, but I still have enough, and so I don't think that there will be a problem, and I replenished my colors, even though someone stole my red acrylic color from my room, which is not nice. Maybe they did it because they didn't want me to produce more red canvases, but don't worry, I can create background from red oil as well. It's okay. Yes, it's better to have background from acrylic because they dry very quick, but you can also use oil. It's okay. You can dilute it with turpentine, and it will dry after a day or two. And it doesn't need to be completely dry in order to be workable as background. So the idea is to have 4 complete suits, even if just small ones, with all the various, the electrolysis calamity, the death of the neurons calamity, the life forms, the bacteria, and to be more inclusive, both with the silver backgrounds that are symbolize the Venusians or the Titans, and the red ones that symbolize the Homo sapienses. And regarding the yellow ones that are related to me and my daughters, there is not much to be left to do. Because I've already created these symbols and they should be in effect. But maybe just for to be for peace of mind, I will see that they are. But because there are only 2 things that with regard to the yellow ones, that I can think about. One is in the creation of neurons, even though it works pretty well and pretty quickly. This was demonstrated in this channel a couple of days ago, and it was not the first time actually. So and it shouldn't it's done pretty much by itself. You don't need to actually you need it to actually place this kind of blessing when they are all when you're completely depleted after people taking everything from you. But I mean, normal circumstances, it just, I mean, it's kind of, I mean, it's a native source, like things in your body, and I mean, and it's that it doesn't, you don't need to multiply it like too much. It's like, I mean, multiplying the white blood cells in your body. Like, why should you have too much white blood cells in your body? It's like, it's a symptom of disease when there are many white blood cells, because I mean they fight like intruders. So I mean, it's a kind of a clear, it's like classical, I mean, indication for in the Homo sapiens is for inflammatory conditions. Like, I mean, so I mean, it's by itself it's not really needed, and I mean, it's used when I'm like, I mean, such a, like, people are depleting it for me. And the other thing is the removal of the life forms from the body, and it should be in effect already. But I mean, maybe I will kind of like, I mean, create like a suite format, like four small canvases, so it will be kind of like always in effect and all the hand gets. The problem is also that the room is there is a limited amount in the walls of the room, so there is not much space. But I'll use small canvases, and it should be fine. Like, at least the 4 yellow ones that deals with the life forms will always be there. So it will be, I mean, in effect, both for me and for my daughters, and maybe, I mean, not maybe, I mean, surely also for my sisters. Let's not forget the sisters, because I have both daughters and sisters. Even though the sisters are not really sisters, they're like, I mean, like sisters in not like when I say daughters, I mean my biological daughters, like bona fide daughters. When I say sisters, I mean like in order, like, the order of Saint Franciscus, that are like brothers and sisters, like Jesuit, like brothers and sisters. In that aspect, like sisters, like, I mean, that belong to the same order, not sisters like biologically. So, or the order of Saint Bartholomew, like, I mean, these kind of sisters and brothers. So that's the agenda. That will be the agenda for today and for the next, probably for the next couple of days. Just, I mean, working on the canvases and working methodically to create like 4 completed sets to work like on small canvases, because I don't have many more, but I still have enough, like, not to be worried that I will need to get out of the apartment. And hopefully, I mean, you will see, I mean, advancement in the multiplication and growing of the life forms in the bodies of these mostly people in Israel, but not only in Israel, that I mean, they like so much to ride this wonderful spaceship that is called Noam David. I mentioned the asteroid yesterday, so there is an issue of like whether we want to increase the size or increase their speed. Mostly I want to increase their speed, but I mean, I'm not sure how it's done. Like, I don't know, and I didn't think about it, so maybe it will be postponed until, like, I mean, I think about it some more. Probably not today.